Alright, what is up guys? I am back for another Zoids review. Trust me, it's there somewhere. You just gotta really look. You gotta look for it. I promise it's there. Yeah, this is a teeny tiny guy this time around. So I've talked about the Zoids Modeler Spirit series before. And way back in the day, some of the first Zoids reviews that I did when I didn't really have a solid formula for these videos down yet, I did do a video of the Modeler Spirit series, Saber Tiger, Shield Liger, and Shield Liger Mark II. And then I stopped seeing these kits. They sort of disappeared for a while. And what these are is these were introduced around 2014, 2015, something like that. They only really had one wave. And these are 144th scale Zoids, so these are basically the equivalent of like a real grade Gundam, where they have the size of, they're very small, but they do have, HMM style build complexity, way more complex than that of the motorized model kits from back in the day. So this is a weird brand that exists somewhere between the NJR brand and the HMM line. And I think they're pretty cool. I think they look really nice with each other and have a high degree of posability and just the right amount of detail that is sort of, like I said, between the two other iconic brands. It's way more detailed than that of the NJR motorized Zoids, but less detailed than that of the HMMs. Due to their size, you can, for the most part, build these pretty quickly and pretty easily. I think this one I did in maybe 3 hours, I want to say, significantly less than its HMM counterpart. And I did actually stylize it with the slightly different head than its HMM counterpart, although like its HMM counterpart, it does come with both different sets of pieces, so you can have either the design right here with this style of head, or the design right here with the one that's a slightly different cockpit. Now, they only made this into one color. They made this in the OD Green Army Republic version, as opposed to the NJR silver and gray sort of civilian version. The other Modeler Spirit series Zoids that exist is the ones I mentioned, the Saber Tiger, Shield Liger, and Shield Liger Mark II. There was also the Great Saber, the Command Wolf. This one, of course. There was the Hammer Rock, which is a Zoid I've never talked about, but I would like to, and it's basically a mini Iron Kong. It's a small-scale gorilla-type Zoid, and I have never seen one in the wild before. There is also the Sinker, which is known as the Sea Striker in the Hasbro version, and is basically a flying stealth ray type Zoid, which is kind of interesting. And so where I got this, and the reason why I'm doing this review now, is the last convention that I went to, Comic-Con, back in late January, early February of this year. I managed to pick this guy up at a booth that had a ton of Zoids. And the irony is that that is the same convention where I got the previous Modeler Spirit series Zoids at years and years ago. So it may have even been the same vendor. It's also the same convention where I got my HMM Lightning Sykes from. So this vendor must be pretty cool. I'll try to give some details and show the picture off to the side here of what that booth looked like. But he actually had two of these as well as the Sinker, and these were only $20 a piece. And I've seen them going online for close to $70. So I said, hell yes, I'll take that. I almost bought both of them, but I didn't want to deal with both of the boxes and both of all the spare parts and the little piece of terrain here for a Zoid this big. But it would be cool to have multiple of them for a little army or whatever, but I decided just to go with the one. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and talk about this guy a little bit. So if you want to know more about the lore of the Godos, I definitely recommend checking out my HMM review. I talk about the different release runs a little bit more in detail there, but basically to sum it up shortly here, the Godos is a small infantry style Zoid used primarily by the Helix Republic in the early days of the war, as one of the very first Helix Republic Zoids. It can be equipped with a variety of weapons and is pretty accurate. It's one of very few bipedal Zoids, but it's very slow, very vulnerable to attacks from low to the ground quadrupedal Zoids or also Mulgas. It's a very easy target for low to the ground Mulgas to take out, so it doesn't have a particularly good matchup against them. But it was a staple of the Helix Republic army for many years until it sort of became obsolete due to advancing technology. And in the anime, we see these things all the time, basically reduced to cannon fodder throughout the majority of Chaotic Century. And we never really see them in combat in New Century Zero. We usually just see them off to the side performing civilian roles or support roles. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at this tiny, tiny little model kit, see if we can get that to focus in nicely. So even among the Modeler Spirit Series Zoids, I want to say this is the smallest. I do have the two guns that are underneath, like attached to the side, like his hips there, underneath his arms. We don't have the single long cannon like the HMM version does. We've got the cannon on the back there, and back here on the tail as well. And we do have I'm pretty sure this does come with a pilot you can build and put in the cockpit, although I typically don't tend to do that with the Modeler Spirit Series Zoids. And everything is pretty much on ball joints. The shoulders, the hips, and the head are all on ball joints, which does give this thing a pretty high degree of articulation and posability, but it does make it a little bit difficult to keep it together, which is why I'm not trying to manhandle it and articulate it with both hands there. These Zoids, in terms of build complexity, like I said, you can build them pretty quickly. They are a lot more fragile than your motorized Zoids, but they are also pretty stable if you build them correctly. So you may remember my Modeler Spirit Series Shieldlager Mark II and how I complained about that thing being unstable and some of the legs didn't stay on. That was due to my own inexperience with building them, because by the time I built the regular vanilla Shieldlager Modeler Spirit Series Zoid, it was very stable and stayed together very well. I didn't have a lot of those same problems with it. The other thing that's cool about these, as you can see clearly, is they all come with a nice little piece of terrain, and they also have the ability to attach these pieces of terrain to each other, although a lot of them don't really mesh very well. Obviously this one is what looks like a structure, like a building right here that was destroyed. This is very much a cityscape battle that's taking place right here with the Godos, whereas some of the terrain for like the Shieldlager or the Command Wolf, for instance, is like a grassy plain. So even though you can kind of connect these little pieces of terrain to make little dioramas together, they don't particularly mesh well together, which is a little unfortunate. Finally, let's do an absolutely ridiculous size comparison here between the Modeler Spirit Series Godos and the HMM Godos. So you can see it's pretty laughable the extent to which the HMM version, which is again 1/72nd scale and 1/144th scale. So that's the difference there. So if you guys are confused about the scaling, again, this is 72 times smaller than what the real thing would be, and this one is 144 times smaller than what the real thing would be. And so that's the same logic as it applies to Gundams. And the reason why I don't like high grade and real grade Gundams, I prefer master grade, because the build complexity of most master grades doesn't seem to be that bad, but just the size you get out of it is much more satisfying in my opinion. So if you're looking to pick some of these up, good luck. Don't pay scalper prices online. These are out of print. If you're going to find one, you're probably going to find it from a site that has it basically left over from when it was new. And if you're going to find any of the Modeler Spirit Series Zoids, chances are you're going to find this one and the Sinker. You're not very likely to find the Shieldlager, the Command Wolf, or the Saber Tiger anymore. And I think the Great Saber is by far the most expensive Modeler Spirit Series Zoid. So don't shell out ridiculous prices for these when you can just as easily buy the HMM version, because this HMM version just had a reprint like this past month or two. So you can easily go to your local hobby store that's starting to import these, or go onto AmiAmi or HLJ and order one of these for about 50 bucks. Don't spend like $70 tracking down one of these little guys. I promise you it's not worth it. If you can get it for 20 like I did, go for it. I really do like the Modeler Spirit Series Zoids, but they only really scale well with each other. They don't scale well with HMMs at all. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys next time.